So you've probably Googled this question once or twice. You probably Googled how to be more likable or how to make people like me. The answer to this question is very nuanced, and it throws me back to a quote by Steve Jobs. If you want to please everyone, sell ice cream. What you're asking for, or the secret that you want to know, is actually something everybody wants to know. There's something innate or a desire that is deep-rooted in our biology that wants to be liked by other people, that wants to be included. In fact, the opposite, when you got thrown out of the crowd, is something that hurts us from an evolutionary perspective. Because when you're part of the herd and then you get thrown out, you were vulnerable to prey. Being part of a group, feeling part of the group really makes your brain feel good. Now, before I tell you exactly how to make people like you, let me run through statistics. In a study conducted at UCLA, people rated over 500 adjectives based on their perceived significance to likability. And guess what? The top rated adjectives had nothing to do with being intelligent or attractive or gregarious. Instead, the top adjectives were empathy, sincerity, transparency, and the ability to understand. And these key adjectives or behaviors describe people who are skilled and emotionally intelligent. Now, Talent Smart research data from more than 1 million people shows that people who possess these emotionally intelligent skills aren't just highly likable, they also outperform other people by a large margin at work. Now, you might think that by pretending to be intelligent or, overdoing the makeup and trying to look more pretty is going to make people like you, but it does not. In fact, it turns them off, especially when somebody feels like they're trying too hard. But there is one place you can try too hard, which is to actually be empathetic, right? To try and understand, to try and put yourself in the shoes of the other person. Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to quote Maya Angelou here, people don't care what you said, people don't care what you did, but people care how you made them feel. So today I'm going to tell you how to make people feel good or feel respected, feel valued, how to be empathetic so that you can get them to eventually like you. In fact, that shouldn't even be the goal. The goal shouldn't even be to get them to like you. It should just be to listen to them and understand them, and being liked becomes a side effect of that. The first thing is to start by being yourself. Now look, everyone has their own authentic self, but when they watch TV, they try to imitate or be somebody else, right? So we often focus on making a good initial impression by being somebody else. In the era of TV and in the era of the internet, we have so many role models, so many influencers, and we try to be like them. But what we don't realize is that everyone has their own true authentic self. And if you be yourself, 90% of the battle is won, unless you're a toxic person, in which case you will get feedback and you will learn and you will get better. But let's not take that case. But let's assume that you have an authentic self. You could be slightly more shy than you want to. You could be slightly less loud than you want to. You can be slightly less intelligent than you want to. But it does not matter, because as long as you're authentic and you are able to own up to that authenticity, which is to sometimes open your mouth and say, hey, I don't know this well, or I'm not so good at this, or I'm not sure, then a know-it-all who thinks they know everything in the world and everything under the sun. So I want to tell you about a study. There was a research that was conducted at Harvard Business School, and they ran this experiment. They had 450 adults, and they told them to imagine they were about to have an important professional interaction, such as maybe interviewing for a dream job, conducting a valuable negotiation, pitching an entrepreneurial idea to potential investors, or making a presentation. Now, 66% of them indicated that they will use catering techniques rather than simply being themselves. A catering technique is to try and be like the other person, is to try and do something that you think might please the other person. It's like a caterer that comes and tries to serve a meal rather than being themselves. But another study was conducted, and it was found that catering was much less effective than being yourself. They asked 166 entrepreneurs to participate in a fast pitch competition held at a private university. At the end of the event, the judges collectively deliberated to choose 10 semi-finalists who would be invited to participate in the round. The entrepreneurs made their pitches, and they had them answer a few questions about their presentations. At the end, they found that the people who were most like themselves, who were most authentic, were 3 times more likely to be picked than those who were catering to the judges. Now I know the odds. In your head, it might seem like, oh my God, if I don't say this thing correctly, if I don't seem this way, I might lose this job, I might lose this investment, whatever it is. But trust me when I say this, over the last 10 years of interviewing thousands of people, I can tell you one thing in certain. The more authentic you are, the higher the likelihood of the other person being in the spot to choose you. The main reason is almost all of these relationships, whether it be a job, whether it be raising money, they're all long-term relationships. And if you are fake on day one, eventually people will realize. And smart recruiters, smart investors have the ability to tell who's being authentic and who's not because they've made decisions where they've picked people based on their presentation who were catering to them and then realized, well, I've been let down. So after you've been through years of this, you eventually start looking for the kind of person that you want to partner with for many years, and those are often authentic people. The next thing is the ability to be relatable. See, one part of empathy is the ability to say things and do things that the other person understands, right? It's like, I don't know if you've ever been in the situation where you're maybe sitting down, you're playing cricket, or let's say you're playing cricket, and somebody comes to you and starts talking to you about quantum mechanics. It's annoying, you don't want to talk to this person about quantum mechanics. It's a physics concept, maybe you're not in the mood, maybe you had a tiring day, but the person keeps going on and on and on to prove how smart they are. If you went to a party and did this to try and talk about what you like versus what the other person likes, eventually you'll realize that people kind of leave you like a bad smell. What you have to do, and this is something that most pickup artists, most businessmen, most public speakers have mastered, is the ability to say things that they know the audience will understand. So this problem took me 3 years on YouTube. In the first couple of years, I tried to say things and do things that I understood very well and I thought the audience knew. But over the last 1 year, I started creating content that people like you can also relate to and understand and enjoy. Because I've realized that A, you get far fewer views when you make content that's not relatable. And more importantly, when you are relatable, you get the opportunity to change the lives of many more people, to impact the lives of many more people. This is something I had to learn the hard way. So when you're talking and you realize the person opposite you can't really answer that question, doesn't really understand what you're talking about, then change the topic. Keep changing the topic till you find something that the other person enjoys. Maybe you really like anime, but the other person really likes cricket, right? So don't keep forcing the topic of anime. Change. Say, hey, you like cricket? Let's talk about cricket. And if you don't know anything about the topic, ask them for advice. Ask them, well, I'm new to cricket. What do you think I should watch? Who do you think I should follow? Which team do you think I should follow? What's the state of the situation? What's the situation in the IPL market right now? Even if you know 1 or 2 small things, be genuinely open to the idea of getting suggestions from the other person, and that will make you seem much more relatable. Where people will associate the adjectives you use to describe other people with your personality. So, in the book, The Happiness Project, which was written by Gretchen Rubin, whatever you say about other people influences how people see you. If you are in a room and if there are 3 people in a room and one of them walks out, what you say about that person to the person that's remaining is very, very important because the person that's remaining is going to have that impression about you in their head. So be nice to people, make them feel good even if they're not in the room. Always have nice things to say about people because believe it or not, people in their heads are constantly thinking about what you're thinking about them, right? At least a small fraction, unless they don't care at all, right? And you're thinking the same, right? That's why you've clicked on this video. So maybe for 2 minutes a day, somebody might think about what you thought about them and what ideas you have about them. And if you said nice things, maybe either directly to them or to a friend or whatever, they're always going to carry that back. The last thing is to say, I don't know, with a smile. See, we live in the generation where we're expected to know everything. We have the world's information in our pocket and we feel like the world is a trivia game where if somebody comes and asks us a question, we're supposed to know everything. And if we don't know that thing, we are going to seem stupid in front of the other people. Over the last 10 years, I have learned the ability to say, I don't know. If I don't know something, I'm going to put my hands up and I say, I don't know enough about that. Maybe if I'm in a room with an expert who knows better than me, instead of arguing with that person or talking about how I might know better, the better thing I've learned to do over the years is to just say, I don't know. But I'd love to listen, I'd love to learn. Please tell me about how you think about this problem in a non-sarcastic way. in a way where you genuinely want to listen, and then spend the next 20 or 30 minutes actually listening, and people will give you that time. In fact, most people in the world want to talk, right? I think the app Clubhouse kind of proved that. People want to talk. So give them the opportunity. If you go to an interview and you don't know the answer to a question, the best thing to do often is to just say, well, I don't know the answer to this question. This is out of the scope of either maybe I didn't study it in college, or maybe, I've never encountered this in my workplace, but I'd love to know from your perspective, right? I don't know the answer to this, but I'd love to know how you think about this problem, right? So that I genuinely take back something even if you don't end up hiring me. And that level of honesty, that level of self-awareness, and the ability to say, I don't know, make you a person that people want to be around. And sometimes people hire people for the people that they are at the workplace, right? People want to be around cheerful people, want to be around humble people, and there's a reason for that. That's it for me. Bye.